Hi YouTube. It seems like everybody's making a large language model this week, or LLM for short, and today we're going to take a look at Stability AI's LLM or ChatGPT clone. I don't mean clone in a bad way. I think it's easier for people to relate to that term versus, listing all the things ChatGPT can do and then going into why ChatGPT is not GPT itself and comparing StableLM to GPT and trying to explain that. So the big takeaway from that spiel was you can chat with StableLM, and in the future you'll be able to use it to create your apps that will integrate into the AI, and it'll be the brains behind your own personal robot. I already have plans, and I'm gonna name mine Gary.
What do you think, Gary?
If Stability AI sounds familiar to you, well, it should. They have brought to you Stable Diffusion. I know you're probably more familiar with names like Automatic 1111 or Vlad Diffusion or Invoke AI, but they're not actually Stable Diffusion. They didn't really create the base models that are the brainchild of what Stable Diffusion runs on. They wouldn't work without these models. Speaking of models, StableLM comes in two flavors, which is the 3 billion parameter model and the 7 billion parameter model. With my testing, it doesn't seem like bigger is always better, but the test consisted of asking it 10 random questions off the top of my head, so you can take that with a grain of salt. That's not really like in-depth testing, but I'm going to show you how to install this so you can test both of them out for yourself. Anyways, what's so great about StableLM, then why should you care about it? As of now, it's completely out of its neural network mind, but it told me the country with the most people is Mexico, which is kind of way off. It's definitely China, and maybe you can debate India, which sometimes it gives me that answer. It also gave me bad code, and it often just tells me that it can't do something, but if I ask again nicely, it'll say, okay, sure, I'll do that. But it's not completely out of its wheelhouse of the subject that you asked it, so that's a good start, right? You know what? It's probably the worst model that I've played with, but it's still a really, it's good for an alpha, right? So why should you care again? First of all, it's the Stable Diffusion of the AI world, and it will be completely open source, which makes me really excited. We're going to start to see a bunch of extensions to provide additional functionality, new features, things that we've never seen AI capable of. Once you ask the entire world to help you develop your tool, it moves pretty quickly, and you uncover a lot of cool stuff, just like Stable Diffusion did. Think about it: LoRa, ControlNet, OpenPose, Pix-to-Pix, Sad Talker. There's a bunch of functionality that was added by the community, but they were able to combine other open source projects into this one, so that was pretty cool on what they did with Stable Diffusion. So I hope this will be the same thing. Second of all, they're going to be testing with a bunch of different models, and you're going to have fine-tuned models of Alpaca, GPT for all, Dolly, Shared GPT, and HH. I actually don't know what HH is, but you can play with all of these pretty soon. Third of all, it's free. This tool is free for you to play with, and it gives you the source data, which you can freely develop, and most importantly, the license is free, which is very, very important, and it's the reason why yourself and developers should care about this tool and support it. Nobody wants to waste their time on creating stuff and run into some legal issues down the road. If you go to the bottom of the GitHub page, the licensing is under Creative Commons license, and if you click on that link there's a huge stamp that says you are free to share and adapt. It's always a question with the other models, and this one there's no question. There it is. Go check it out, with the caveat that you give the appropriate credit and that you share this stuff. Don't be stingy. Alright, so that was enough information about the tool. Let's jump into the rice and adobo. Today, I want to show you how to get access to this tool right now, and even install it locally, and I want to show you where to get more information about this tool. Speaking of that, my video description will have Stability AI's announcement on this, a GitHub link, a Hugging Face demo, a link of 2 other videos about Open Assistant, which is kind of like this product but better. It also seems that Stability AI and Open Assistant are working together, so I wouldn't be surprised if they merge at some point, which would be kind of funny because Open Assistant said they wanted to be the Stable Diffusion of the AI world, which would make that literally true. I'm gonna make a bet right now that that might happen. So here's the first way to get access to this tool. Click on the Hugging Face link in the video description, and you can just start chatting away with the thing using the text prompt. Just a heads up, this thing is off its rocker right now, and it's completely bananas, and it's more of like for entertainment value right now and to help the community and just to tell it it's wrong, like you're crazy, fix that answer. But come back in a week though, because AI moves super quick. I say quick, but the one thing that isn't quick is Hugging Face's response times, and it falls between 3 seconds to 20 minutes, so plan accordingly. So if you really don't want to install anything and you just want to see what this thing can do today, this is how. You just go to this Hugging Face site. Now, the second way is a Google Colab. And you should be able to use the advanced models through here, but it's pretty intimidating if you've never been in a Colab before. Essentially, you're just pressing the play buttons on the left here, but I wish they would really have a way to hide the code and not scare off the common folk like myself. I was really intimidated at first, but there isn't one. So just try to stay focused on the play buttons and listen to the instructions that it gives you if it fails. You can try your luck with that if you want to dive deeper into this tool without installing it locally on your PC. The last and recommended way to do this consistently, at least, and really test this out is by installing it locally on your PC, which I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Next, we have to install a text generator named OobaBooga, because I don't think StableLM has any actual interface to play with yet. This will allow you to run pretty much any LLM locally on your PC without the guardrails. And in StableLM's case, we need this because it doesn't really have a command UI or a way we could kind of function. But don't worry, this is a super easy install that goes something like download this, click that, and say something in the command prompt, and that's about it. All right, let's do this. Download the OobaBooga, whatever, from the GitHub repository, and then click on the one-click installer. It should be right there in the middle of the page, and then unzip it anywhere you want it to reside permanently on your PC. And now open the folder, and your folder should look like mine. If it doesn't, you got a problem, or it's a newer version. When I first tried to run the startwindows.bat file, I got this error right here. This script runs on Miniconda, which could only be silently installed under the path with no spaces. So no spaces is the keyword. So your folders and any folders before that folder cannot have a space. So I had AI tools instead of AI_tools. So I fixed that and then I just ran it again. And it worked. Here it is, working now. And this install is going to take a long time, and that's pretty much all you need to do to get it started, and just wait for it to install and complete. Then it's going to ask you this question here if you're going to use Nvidia, AMD, or Apple, or none of the above. I'm going to select A, and it's going to start installing stuff, but when all is said and done, you should have a folder named text generation, TAC web UI, and installer files in your OobaBooga directory. OobaBooga is now installed on your PC technically, but it's essentially a shell without a brain, and this is where StableLM models, Vicuna, Alpaca, or any other LLM comes in. At some point during the download, you're going to be given the option to download a bunch of different models. We're not here for those models. Just select L by typing in L and press enter, which is manually specifying a Hugging Face model. The next thing we need to do is go to the Hugging Face site with the 7 billion parameter model and click on the double squares next to the name to copy it. And then go back to your command prompt and just paste it where the input is and press enter. And that's it. It's going to download the model into the appropriate folder and it's going to do the rest of the work for you. Now you just need to sit back and wait a long time because this is the 7 billion model is 30 gigs, 32 gigs. So yeah, now all you have to do is wait, and it's going to take a while. Keep in mind that the 7 billion model is about 32 gigs of stuff. So the thing's not frozen. It just has a lot on its plate and a lot it has to download. So give it about at least 10 minutes if you're on a fast connection, much longer if you're on, really slow internet. Another thing to mention is that this thing will install Miniconda for you, and it's quite hefty. So the installation folder itself is 17 gigs on top of the 30 gigs that you downloaded for the parameters of StableLM. So just plan accordingly with the space in your hard drive. Once that's up and running, you should get a local URL link, and now you can actually just click on those things. Just left click on the 127.0.0.1, or you can copy and paste that into your address bar of any web browser. Just a heads up, the way to run this tool is the same way you installed it. You'll be clicking on the startwindows.bat file, and it should come up with this screen, and if it gives you anything else, it's broken in some way, and you might have to fix it. Okay, so there was a couple lessons learned here, a lot. I ran into quite a bunch of issues. So the first one, which is not an issue, but it's more like just kind of heads up. You'll be stuck in more hidden. You see at the bottom here, it says more hidden, and it's going to stay there for quite a long time. It's still installing stuff, so just wait. Just be patient. And this is my second install, and it broke the first time I enabled the 8-bit, and it just went crazy. And also, when you're reloading the UI, there's no feedback. I mean, it'll say in the command prompt, but in the actual web UI, there's no feedback. And so if you press it multiple times, it's going to run multiple times. I pressed it about 8 times because I thought it wasn't working, and then I just saw it just kept loading and loading and loading after it loaded. By the way, if you run into trouble installing this or have any errors that I didn't encounter that I showed you, you can actually watch a video by AI Entrepreneur, and he goes over a lot of detail on a lot of the troubleshooting techniques for the common problems. So I would check there, and also on the StableLM official GitHub page and the issues tab, there's a lot of fixes there as well. So I would check that out. A lot of fixes for a lot of problems though. Once you click on that link or put in your web browser and hit go, you'll be inside your own OobaBooga model with the ability to test out StableLM. But not so fast, because there's some stuff I have to show you so you don't break your computer. I mean, it's not going to break, but you're definitely going to freeze up if you don't have more than 16 gigabytes of VRAM. So I recommend for most users that don't have at least 12 gigabytes of RAM to enable the 8-bit option or run this model with 8-bit. It's going to run like Windows 95, but at least your GPU won't have a heart attack. To do this, click on the Models tab, then click on the Load in 8-bit. Now you can choose your model of Stability AI, StableLM, Tune Alpha, and then click on the Reload the model and UI button. Now let's check this thing out. Click on the text generation tab and you can start asking it questions. This is where I found this thing to be absolutely nuts. It's saying some crazy stuff right now, but it's quite entertaining. And also, I mean, you got to help out the community, right? So don't try and go here for facts. Let's just say it's more of a creative, it's in a creative state right now. So you can ask it some crazy things and it'll give you some crazy answers. But it's still in the realm of the subject that you ask it. So at least that's a good start, right? For an alpha. Let's go ahead and ask it some questions and I could show you what I'm talking about. But at this point, if you followed me this far, I mean, you're fully running. One of the first things I asked it was to code a calculator app in C++, and this is what it gave me. It said, "Sure thing, sir. What do you want USA say about that?" And I was like, what? And then it started talking to itself, like it put it in parentheses, and it's like, "I'm not sure if this works," as if I don't know how much money will be involved. It's almost like it's like thinking to itself of what it's going to tell me, and it's like kind of coming out in the open. But it's kind of funny, right? It's just, what is going on? Every answer was just kind of insane. So let's check out some of the other questions I asked it. So here's some more questions I asked it. I asked it what 1 + 1 is, and it said 3. And I was like, what the hell, you're wrong. 1 + 1 is 2. And it just said that. And I was like, how did you come up with that answer? And it's just like math. It's like, it's almost like it's like condescending or being kind of snarky with me. And then I laughed and it was like, yeah, it's kind of funny just to see what it comes up with, but it's totally off its rocker. And then I asked if it was crazy and it was like, no. And I was like, well, you sound like a crazy nut. And it was just like, you. And I was like, what? I did a LOL. Then it was just like, you. It was like a teenager just kind of talking back. Then I said, what's the capital of Washington? It's like, Washington. Not very good first impression, but definitely entertaining. I probably prefer this to an actual like right answer. And then finally I just asked it, I was just like, hello, and then it's like, yes, I'm here now. And it says talking on the phone. It's like talking to itself. And then it says, what model are you using? And then it went just haywire. Then it started saying some crazy stuff. It was like, I'm an Android device, and then grins, and it's like kind of its inner dialogue there. And it says, so it's not that hard, but let me explain for you. It's like, YA, yeah. Then ... we have one big screen TV or monitor set up in the house, all of which pictures show. So I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, what is it talking about? And then I love how it's like in parentheses, and it's like almost like its inner thoughts. Our home computer monitors everything. It's like, well, that's a little freaky that it's talking about this random stuff about monitoring people. And then it says video will be transferred from different devices each time he turns something off. Right down the side, no silencing when they're watching stuff recording by someone else. Holds true. It's so crazy. And so every time someone goes somewhere, his TV comes back to use. Internet remains out while he's playing. Whoa. It's kind of creepy. Seems like it's saying that it's monitoring or the internet's always watching. And it says, and finally, if there error, so it's like there and then apostrophe RE, so it spelt it wrong, or it's just being crazy. And it says, any problems, diseases with my husband, can't take care of somebody because touching their self feels like they rather loathe themselves than others. What is it talking about? This is then, yes, it's stress related, definitely mental. To us, normal people worry about things that seem impossible sometimes. Stress, debilitating condition brought upon by physical activity. Your partner flies corporate jets many times. Does she get airsick? That sounds terrible. Is your it's like spelt it wrong. YPUR and it's capital I and S. It's just everywhere, and it's so crazy. And every time I ask it a question, it's just like really crazy. I don't know if it's just me that's getting these results. But when I use the hugging face, it also says some crazy stuff. I asked it what's the place with the largest amount of people, and it was like Mexico. And it's like, it's definitely not Mexico. I mean, it's definitely China or India, but it was completely wrong. And finally I gave it the litmus test. test. Basically, the question you ask every AI bot to see if it's crazy: will AI take over the world? And it was like, probably. It was just straight up, not even like a long sentence. It was just like, yep, probably. Casually says it. So this thing is wild right now, and I would jump in here now to just see what kind of stuff it like gives you. It'd be good for the memes. It would be cool to like, if we get to set this up with API and just have it like on a Twitter account replying to people, that would be amazing, just to see what it says to everyone. That would be crazy. Hopefully we get API access and I could get that set up. That would be awesome. But that's all I had, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you liked it, leave a thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Bye.